Hey everybody, this is gonna be my first kind of actual Overwatch YouTube video. You might see some Pokemon videos from like my on my account from like 2 years ago or like a year ago or something. Um, but yeah, so I kind of wanted to just actually make a video on this stuff because I am gonna be going into casting playoffs next week, and as you can see on my screen here, all the games are at the exact same time. So we can't really watch all of them. So I would like to talk about playoff predictions um, for the first round, and then I also want to talk about regular season and my thoughts, and I'll have a little, MVP conversation. Um, Obviously, this is kind of my first video, so I probably won't be putting a ton of editing into it, and I'm also a little bit sick right now, so I apologize if I sound off. But let's kind of get into it. So obviously, I casted a good chunk of regular season. Not as much as I would hoped to, but scheduling was a little bit awkward. Um, that being said, I think that I have a good grasp on all of these teams. I think the playoffs, or I think that the teams that are in playoffs are kind of what we expected for the most part. I think Viva City have been the biggest surprise team where I think the last few playoff spots were up for grabs, but they weren't even really like clawing for that last spot. Like they were locked for a while, right? What was their regular season record? Um, Sorry, I'm like should have looked at this beforehand. They went 9-6, so they were 9 or 10 wins. I was saying was going to be the cutoff. It usually is 9-6. So I think them being that last or second last team to grab a spot was probably the only surprise team to see here. I think Amplify were also 9-6, which is exactly where they ended last season. So they're kind of looking to make a better run back for playoffs. But everything else is kind of standard. Kinsugi, obviously, they went through a roster change. They ended up looking incredibly strong with their new roster. Everyone else that was there. Um, I think the Fallen were kind of a surprise team that I definitely expected them to make playoffs, but they did very, very well. 11-4 is very impressive. So definitely not surprised to see them in playoffs, but I think seeing them at 11-4 was a surprise. I think they did very, very well. Obviously, my opinion on playoffs is it doesn't really matter what your seed is because if you want to win, you're going to have to pretty much beat everybody anyways, or be good enough to beat everybody. So I don't think seeding really matters, especially in Face It, to be honest. I think on any given day, these teams are good for an upset, and we're on a new patch now as well. So I don't think the seeding is going to really play much here, but obviously there is an advantage to having a higher seed. That being said, let's kind of just get into predictions. Actually, before we get into predictions, let's do regular season thoughts and MVP. Let's dive into that a little bit more. Um, if we look at the standing, um, so Dildux and Team Z both finished with 12-3. We didn't see anyone go kind of for that one loss or undefeated run. Not even anyone with just two losses. So it was very competitive this season. And I think, Team Z had one rough week, and I think that's where they dipped in the standings. Not to say that it really mattered because they still finished in the top two and they're still going to have a very comfortable first round matchup. Um, but yeah, I mean, it kind of just shows that on a lot of given days or any given day, these teams are good to beat each other. And I'm just happy with how competitive it was. I really feel like there's like 4, 5 teams that I could see winning it. Honestly, for the most part, I think any of these teams could take it, with the given exception of maybe one or two, not to be an ass. But I think pretty much from like sixth onwards, I realistically could see any of these teams winning. No Flame to Amplify and Viva City. I think it's possible, but I think they are definitely the biggest underdogs going into this playoff. That being said, um, yeah, which teams impressed me the most? Definitely the Fallen. I think Meowcad, for me, I wouldn't say they exceeded expectations. I think 11-4 is a comfortable place for their team to be at. I wasn't sure. I was sure they were going to be a playoff team, but I wasn't sure how dominant they were going to look, and they've looked really good some days and not so great the other days. So I think they can find their footing. That's good. But I also think it's a good meta for their team. The Cat Bastion stuff I think fits their play style pretty well. So I think they'll only look better in playoffs. But I think the Fallen, I expect them to be kind of like fifth, sixth territory when I was looking at power rankings, and they could easily finish top three relegation potential if they have a good showing in playoffs. EXO really strong bounce back, 10-5. I think discredits their record a lot because they had a really rough start to the season. I think they won like almost every single game after. So even though they finished as the sixth seed, I would probably have these guys as top three. I'm pretty sure they beat Kintsugi and Team Z. Let's go check that right now. So I don't think you can really pay attention to records for any of these teams, to be honest. I think that 10-5 is a disservice to this team. They beat Kintsugi. Um, they beat Team Z, right? They beat Team Z. So yeah, very well played for them. Dilducks, kind of talking out of order, but Dilducks are interesting. They obviously have a lot to prove because when they were in OWCS, they were kind of the joke team where they didn't win any games. And now they're actually playing seriously in Face It, where they want to win, they want to requal, they want to go to promo relegation. They've changed their roster a lot, and they've done well. 12-3, tied for the best record in the league. Their losses, really close loss to Team Z, really close loss to Kintsugi, and a random 3-0 loss to Amplify, but nothing really alarming. That 3-0 loss to Amplify is also way long ago. It's a month ago, so write that shit off. It doesn't mean anything anymore. Um, this team could realistically make promo relegation, and I think I would be scared to play them because they have they got a lot of passion and they're excited to go far. I think every team here has a lot of passion, to clarify. Um, but yeah, Amplify and Vivacity. We'll kind of talk about these guys. Vivacity play very unique style. The Maga, not a bad meta for them. Maga's decent right now. We're pretty good right now. Cat could be good for them. They like to play wacky. So I think this team could low key be sleeper because I think they were already a team that was good for random upset, and now that they have a meta that's kind of wacky, it should play to their strengths. So I think the stuff was kind of aligned for Vivacity here. Like they could make a good run. Do I think they're gonna make promo relegation? Well, realistically, probably not. Do I think they'll finish top four? Maybe there's a chance top four. Would I be surprised if they finished higher than top four? Yeah, I'll be totally honest. I would be surprised if they finished top four or better. But that being said, I think this is the best patch for them to do that, and I think it goes for a lot of the teams. Amplify, same deal. This could be the patch for them. I don't know how Cat Bastion necessarily plays to their team's strengths. I know Ewan likes like Lucio and Wu Yang and stuff like that. I'm not sure how much the Cat falls to Ewan's wheelhouse, but we'll see. I really can't comment on it too much. Um, so yeah, let's kind of, I've given my thoughts. Kintsugi, I was hyping them up for a while. I think their roster is great. I think they are very flexible. They have really good styles. They can play double flex. They can play main. Really good. They're just flexible. They're good all around. All their players are good. All their players are, in contention for being like the top tier in their role in this tournament, right? Like there's no one on their team that is like a weak point by any means. Um, and then Team Z is just the exact same deal. All their players are top in their role. This tournament, they're all competitive on their role. They're all gonna have days where they're playing better than everybody in their role, which you can be said for a lot of people in this tournament. And they have a good amount of experience under their belt. They have a lot of people who've played OWCS. Pretty sure their whole team, except their whole team's played OWCS at some point, right? So, um, there's no reason why they couldn't do well, right? Um, so yeah, let's talk about regular season MVP. And this is kind of I'll post this on Twitter as well, but I think the way I'm gonna look at this MVP is because I couldn't watch every single game and I watched some teams less. Which player consistently just impressed me every time I watched them? Because for me, the criteria of MVP is obviously like have they had like standout moments? Yes. Are they consistently good? Yes. Are consistently great? Yes. And I think a big thing about MVP is have they been a significant contributor to their team's success? And I would also say yes. Now, when I say that, I don't want to discredit the other teammates on the team, but I think there's a few players that came to mind, but when I thought about it, there's one player in particular that literally every time I watched, like I feel like there's always something I'm like, wow, like that was really well played, or like they had majority of their games felt like standout games, and like they were always impressing me. So I'm kind of just not. I'm not really gonna like sugarcoat. I'm not gonna try to like overglaze here. I think for me the player that I would give the MVP to was Kiwi on Kintsugi. I was really impressed with Kiwi all season. Really flexible. Mizuki, Alari still can play Lucio, but also like I feel like there's just some like Kiriko obviously still as well. Like just a lot of like punching power. And I think Kiwi's hero pool lets Kintsugi unlock like tons of styles, which I think in itself is already something that pushes them into the contention. Like I said, I haven't watched every team every game, but every game I watched Kintsugi, I feel like Kiwi was having a really good game and a lot of standout moments. So that's for me like just when I think who impressed me the most, I think it's Kiwi 100%. So that's what I would kind of put as my I'd put Kiwi as my face it league regular season MVP. I'll have a playoff MVP as well, or maybe finals MVP, whatever you want to call it. But really impressed with what Kiwi did this season, and I'm excited to watch a lot of these teams. But I'm really excited to see what Kintsugi do. Obviously, got a lot of friends that are playing in this tournament, so as much as I can say I could be biased, I'm not going to be biased because there's friends across pretty much every team in playoffs for the most part. So it's actually hard to be biased because I'm happy to see like anybody win. And I'm excited to watch them play and see the banter and stuff like that. So congrats, Kiwi. I'll post something on Twitter, but you're my MVP for regular season. Good shit. Good shit all of Kintsugi. Good shit all the playoff teams, to be honest. But that's kind of the player to me that stood out the most. So let's get into predictions now. So I'll kind of just like draw on my screen so you guys can see. You guys can see that, right? Perfect. Okay, nice. Let's start from the bottom up here. Team Z versus Amplify. I'm just going to write 3-0. This one, there's not a lot to talk about. I think that realistically, Team Z should be 3-0ing Amplify. But that being said, Amplify, you never know. It's a new patch. Teams are learning new stuff. I know Team Z have been scrimming. I think they've been scrimming OWCS. I think I remember that. So I'm not sure. I'm sure a lot of the face teams actually are, to be honest. To the OWCS teams that are like to the OWCS teams that are actually scrimming right now, I'm sure a lot of them are actually scrimming pretty high because they've been scrimming more and they know the patch a little bit better potentially. But I think this is just like underdog mentality from Amplify. Like you're playing against one of the top teams. You're playing against one of the teams from the beginning of the season that was expected to be promo relegation. So just like if they win a map, great. If they win, involve an upset, crazy. But realistically, I have no reason to see them being able to pull off this win. I also think that, for finding maps, they have a style they could go to. They could throw Team Z off, and I can't think of a style that Amplify have that Team Z don't really have better. There isn't like a map where I'm like Amplify could really throw them off, so I think that's a clean 3-0. Yeah, the rest of these games are a lot harder to predict, to be honest. That was kind of the one easy one to predict. The Fallen Meowcat. I mean, this one is fucking hard to predict, to be honest. If I'll hide this for now. Can I hide this? Nice. Look at the Fallen's regular season. As I sip my iced coffee. Who are the Fallen and Meowcat? When did they play? They played super early, so you can't really put much stock into this game, even though it was a 3-0, which is really impressive. The Fallen just got something to them, man. Like, they're good for it, to be honest. They got some magic they're working. They're always good for a win. I think at the start of the season, if you said that if you had the Fallen 3-0'd Meowcat, you'd be like, what the fuck? Like, that's crazy. And I think now it's not so crazy that it happened, right? Looking at how well they played. That being said, I think it's a crazy good patch for Meowcat. I know Graveyard's really good at Cat. I think Regime plays Cat as well. So I think like Noxious can play, it's Bastion, whatever Noxious wants to play. I'm sure Noxious can play the Bastion. And I think McChicken has looked incredible as a flex DPS. I think like Meowcat just like to play into this wacky stuff a little bit more. So that's all I really have to say. I think it could go either way, but I'm going to say 3-2 for Meowcat. And just because I think the patch does favor them, and I think that the Fallen are always good to play up to pretty much any team. Like if they play a really good team, I think they're always good to play up. But I do think Meowcat will have a little more flexibility, a little more comfort on these wacky comps that will probably get them some random map wins that will break the series, break the series open. Could it be a win for the Fallen? Yeah, totally. That's why I have the series being super close. But could it be even more one-sided for Meowcat as well? But I think I feel pretty good about this 3-2 prediction here for Meowcat over the Fallen. I haven't really had a chance to watch these teams scrim or anything, obviously, so I'm kind of going into this blind. But I feel really good about that prediction. I think that's a very fair call. Viva City, Dilducks. I'm going to say 3-1 for Dilducks. The reason why I'm going for this is I think Viva City, even though they are wacky, I think they could definitely give Dilducks a good challenge. I think the Dilducks are strong. They've looked, looking at the record, they're relatively good amount of consistency there and how they performed. So I don't think they're going to be a team that's like overly thrown off by weird stuff, but I think VV City is good at punching up. I think the patch is good for them. I think this will just be a solid game. I think Deluxe will look better, but I think this should just be a solid game. Not going to write into it too much. Jesus, too much. I think it should be a comfortable 3-1 win for the Deluxe. I think it should just be a decent game, to be honest. But I think Deluxe will come out on top for that one. Now this game is probably the one I'm gonna watch. First round. This should be kind of like a Giga Slammer. Obviously, EXO, despite their 10-5 record, I would definitely put them as top 3, maybe even top 2, maybe even the best team exiting regular season. So the fact that we get a first round Kintsugi EXO, this is a potential, like, this could potentially be like, there's so many teams that can make it far, right? But like, this is a potential winner bracket, like, 2 promo relegation teams like facing off early. Like, obviously, there's so many teams that could make it. But that would kind of just be my like go-to match to watch this week. I think this will be the craziest match. I think this should be a 3-2. This should be an absolute slammer. Who do I think is gonna win? I'm gonna say 3-2 Kintsugi, and it's hard for me to call this one. But I think Kintsugi are just really fucking flexible, and I think with a new patch, it's hard to knock that flexibility, but EXO are good for it, to be honest. Like, I think this is the hardest game to predict. I really think it could go any scoreline. Like, one team could just barely be better and still 3-0. It could be, it's really close at 3-2. Like, one team could run away with it because they're more prepared. I don't know. But I think I want to give Kintsugi the edge in this first round. What I'm actually gonna do is Wikipedia. Can I like sorry, this is like scuffed, but I'm gonna pull up the Face It League. Um, can I look at like the actual bracket? Okay, nice. Okay, we're gonna rewrite this. So the Dilducks. Okay, this is like ass. I'm gonna put like over here. 3-1. This looks like gross. Sorry. 3-2. Oh, I guess they changed it in the Fallen or something. 3-2. 3-0. I know it looks gross. Sorry. Um. But yeah, that's kind of where we're at. Then we go to like the next round. I'll try to do the whole playoffs, so I don't have to make another video. We have so it'll give us Dilducks. Dude, this is like so annoying to draw. Oh my god. It'll give us Dilducks versus Kintsugi. And I would give this like a Kintsugi 3-1. I think that I think EXO will play them closer. I think Dilducks will still be competitive, but I would give Kintsugi a 3-1 there, maybe even a 3-0. I think Kintsugi will probably be stronger, but could be wrong. Like, we'll see. But I'm gonna go 3-1 there, Kintsugi versus Deluxe, and then that would leave. I'll have to check the lower bracket thing in a second, but it'd be Team Z here versus Anomaly, and I would go like 3-2 again potentially. I think that'll be another Giga Slammer. I would put Team Z 3-2 Anomaly. I think that would be another super close game. It could be even more like in Team Z's court, but I think that's gonna be another super close game. How do I check who plays here? It'd be the of. Okay, what does it not even say? Am I stupid? Because how does the bracket normally drop? I feel like once I'm gonna pause and do some research. Sorry. Okay, we're gonna do some MacGyvering to make sure I'm following the bracket properly. But this is what it should look like down here. So, Amp and EXO. Sorry, Amp and the Fallen. I would give that a nice little 3-1 for the Fallen, which means the Fallen will go here, right? The Fallen will go there. Yeah, I would go 3-1 for the Fallen. Viva City EXO. I'm just gonna go 3-0 for EXO. Make that cleaner. I think EXO are good for that. I just think they're dominant. I think between like Kintsugi or EXO, whoever wins that first round matchup will pretty easily win this one. Or sorry, whoever loses that will still easily be able to make like a dominant run through lower brackets. So that will give us EXO obviously going over here. I think that's pretty valid. I think not really much else to say about those matchups. And then we'll look at the drop down here in a second. So just if we're going off of how it worked last season, which should be the same way, it's going to be the bracket drop, right? If you look at last season, it was Emo Diamond under here. So we're going to look at like a bracket drop. So the loser of Team Z, which I have anomaly, will play EXO. And this is a crazy matchup to get. This is a crazy matchup to get right here. I actually think it's really unfortunate if this is like Kintsugi or EXO versus Anomaly or like Team Z. Like that's a crazy matchup to have to get right there. Like the way that the bracket's shaped out. Who would take it? I would say EXO 3-2. That would be my prediction on this one. I think this could be super close, but I'm gonna say EXO 3-2. I think I even could see like 3-1, 3-2. I'm gonna say 3-2 because I'm hoping for good games. A little bit of bias in terms of I'm hoping for good games, but I think EXO will take that. 3-1, 3-2. I'll say 3-2 just a sec. I think it's unfortunate for Anomaly. I think they have a really hard bracket lined up. And then that means that it's gonna be the Fallen versus Dildux. I'm gonna say the Fallen 3-2. I think they're good for it. I don't know. Again, like both these games are so crazy to predict. I think the Fallen can take that one. I'm gonna say the Fallen 3-2. I really think this one can go either way. As much as Dildux are a top seeded team, um, the Fallen got that magic, and I think that this is hard actually. This one might be the low key the hardest game to predict. I think this one will be an absolute banger. Um, I think this one will be an absolute banger. Oh, sorry. I know the bracket looks scuffed as fuck, but um, yeah, I'm gonna go the Fallen. Yeah, I'm gonna go the Fallen 3-2. It's a hard one. I'm gonna go there. Oh man, I feel bad. That game's like so hard to predict. I think the Fallen they just got the fucking clutch factor. I believe the Dilducks did beat them in the regular season. Not that it like matters too much, but when did they play? It was a 3-0 as well. Ooh, okay, I know. Okay, when did they play last time? May 5th. Oh, this was like kind of recent. I know it's a different patch. Okay, you know what? I hate to be that guy. We might have to change the prediction a little bit here. I'm gonna go Dildux 3-2. I think this could go either way. I think this will be a close one. I'm gonna go Dildux 3-2 on that one. I hate to say it. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, the Fallen. I'm gonna go Dildux 3-2. Then we get. So then that leaves us with EXO and Dildux, and then we get Team Z, Kintsugi. I mean, this is just crazy. I think EXO 3-1 on the Dildux. I'll give EXO a 3-1 there. I think EXO are just so strong. So I'll see EXO go to lower bracket. They'll be fighting here for that promo relegation. As much as I think Dildux are good, I think EXO are like sleeper best team in the tournament right now. I shouldn't even say sleeper. Like I think like EXO are just so strong. So we'll send EXO there to the lower bracket finals there. Anomaly versus EXO. The reason I'm going to go back to this game talk, but just even though I think this one's closer, I think Anomaly just it's a good patch for them. I think they're good at the weird stuff, but I still think EXO will take that. And then Team Z Kintsugi, like this one is just so fucking close. Like again, like this is just a crazy game. Man, this is a crazy game. I mean, I'm gonna go Kintsugi 3-2. I know I'm like being a 3-2 merchant right now. I think the Cap Bastions. I don't. It's so hard. It's so hard, man. It's too hard to say. I'm just gonna call it as I see it. I'm gonna go Kintsugi 3-2. Um, I think that one will go either way. To be honest, yeah, I don't really have much to say. I think that'll just be a really close game. And then EXO versus Team Z. I mean, this is so. I hate having to predict these, but I'm doing it for content. I'm just gonna go for another 3-2. I'll be a 3-2 merchant. I'm gonna go EXO 3-2. I think EXO are the best team in the tournament. Low key, I've said it before, but I think we'll get a. like I have so many friends on all these teams, so I don't want to like I have friends in literally all these teams, so it's like hard for me to not feel bad because some of my friends are gonna have to lose, but I'm also trying to be like unbiased and like objective. Um, and when I put these 3-2s, like it really could go either way. Like let me explain that. Like it's really gonna be close. I think there's all these games are gonna be so close. So that would leave us with uh Kintsugi, EXO. I mean, this is just a straight run back, right? It's like a first round run back. Um, do I get spicy? Do I give Kintsugi the first round win, and then do I give Kintsugi the first round win, and then give EXO the grand final win? Am I down to get a little spicy with it? I'm down. I'm down. You know what? Just for the spice of it, I'm gonna go EXO 4-2. No 4-3. We're gonna go EXO taking the whole thing down. We're gonna go EXO 4-2 in the finals. I want to get a little spicy picture. I'm not gonna go 4-3 Merchant, 3-2 Merchant. We're gonna go EXO 4-2. I think that I'm not sure if they get a win, if they get a game up in the finals. I'm not sure. I don't think it works like that. It didn't work for this last season, but it's hard to say. Anyways, so that will go here, and then I'll talk about the promo relegation stuff in another video. But that was a long video. I yapped for a while. WQB MVP, and I really think that if we look at the standings, like I think realistically, uh, like any of these teams here, honestly, like any of those teams can make promo relegation. I'm sorry, VVC Amplify. I feel like they're a little below the strength, but I really think like these top six, like I wouldn't be surprised to like see any of these teams in promo relegation, to be honest. Um, Honestly, like low key, it could happen as well here. Like you never fucking know. I think he's really really competitive, and I'm excited to see these games. I might make some YouTube videos where I look back on the games because I can't watch all of them live. But thank you guys so much for watching. It was a long video. I'll probably put a disclaimer. You should watch this on like 1.25 or something at the start. Thank you. Bye bye.